Next SCP is SCP-6485, aka Want a Coffee for Your Head? Sorry, I had to scroll down to get the extra shit. Alright. Item 6485, Level 1 Unrestricted. Containment Class Keter. Disruption Class Eki. Risk Class Notice. Special Containment Procedures. Due to the large number of SCP-6485 instances distributed worldwide, and the very nature of the anomaly, it is currently impossible to contain 6485. Following extensive research into subjects exposed to 6485 and the constant and continuous monitoring of an 6485 instance, 6485 has been deemed safe to remain self-containing, as it poses no threat and greatly improves the mental state and morale of any subject who interacts with it. Foundation web crawlers are to routinely search any online forums, message boards for any mentions of 6485 instances, which are to be analyzed to better ascertain the nature of their distribution and further pinpoint their location for further analysis. Tracker chips are to be shipped out to all international branches of Site-85, which is constructed by the Ethics Committee to house non-hostile sapient anomalies worldwide under a collective site, and other Foundation sites to be further redistributed to all known subjects of 6485. All states are to then further monitor the respective countries' discovered instances. Any reports of 6485 manifestations that are captured by security camera feeds, photographs, or alike are to be investigated, and all footage relating to 6485, such as news reports, videos, or similar, are to be confiscated or taken down. Should an 6485 instance manifest in public, MTF Tau 87 of worldwide hugs are to be dispatched, and all second-hand witnesses among the civilian populace are to be traced down and amnesticized. Should any instances of 6485 manifest to any Foundation personnel, they report this to Science Perspective Containment Specialist for Containment Procedures. List of specialized containment procedures is wrong here. And I clicked on it and it's blocked. Well, I guess we don't get to know.
Oh dear.
It might have been removed. And just not edited.
Let me try clicking it and see if I can get to it. Oh yeah, it just says about blank dash blocked.
Yep.
Okay.
It's gone. Alright. Description. SCP-6485 is a toy that manifests approximately an hour after one's expiration, often to the deceased closest family members and friends. It has no fixed appearance, but generally appears as a stuffed animal or doll, typically taking the form of a deceased's favorite toy from their adolescence. Testing confirms that 6485's composition and physical appearance are non-discernible from similar non-sapient toys. 6485 exhibits signs of sapience, is able to move on its own accord, and communicate via a range of gestures or writing. It's also been observed to have heightened reflexes and an unexplained knowledge of a subject's likes and dislikes. 6485 is also capable of demanifesting and remanifesting itself, most commonly when it is removed from a subject's immediate vicinity, but also can be used to reach hard-to-reach areas, which only stops when it deems the subject to have gained closure over their loved one's death. It also does this so when a subject actively attempts to harm themselves or experience significant emotional distress. Upon the complete destruction of 6485, it will remanifest next to a subject.
They
Upon
actually sound very good for people who are mourning.
Yeah, I think the only reason this thing so far is a keter is because they can't capture it.
Yeah,
So far, it's kind of more of a safe class.
it's kind of like, while they're this powerful, they were. It literally sounds like this SCP is very powerful and literally uses all its power to make sure the person does not die.
Yeah. Upon manifestation, 6485 has been observed in its behavior to express affection by bringing items, small snacks, tokens, toys, etc., cooking simple dishes of the subject's preference, as well as forms of hugs and pets. It is also able to produce physical childhood pictures of the deceased past, even when they were previously destroyed. While it has its own consciousness, it may follow orders given to it by subjects if it deems it necessary for them to move on from their family members or friends' death. Prolonged exposure to 6485 will cause its subject's mental state and morale to improve greatly and gain closure faster than people who are not exposed to 6485.
I'm not seeing any downsides yet.
Yeah. Research has indicated that 6485 instances are more likely to appear to individuals who are parents/guardians of the deceased, are siblings of the deceased, are close friends of the deceased, have lost their child, sibling, friend due to an accident, long-time illness, or suicide, have lost their significant other due to an accident, long-time illness, or suicide. Discovery. After junior researcher Charlie Upson's death on November 20th, 2020, an instance of 6485 taking the form of a teddy bear was discovered when a researcher was dispatched to his mother's house to inform her of his death a week after. It was at that point that her 6485 instance was discovered, helping with some chores. Upon further questioning, it was revealed that it manifested on the day of researcher Charlie's death and had been attempting to inform her of his death, but she had refused to acknowledge such news. Aww. Following Site Director Light's request, she has agreed to accompany Foundation personnel to Site 85 for further testing and observation. Addendum 6485.1. Following the discovery of and further research into 6485, an archive Reddit thread on r/no stupid questions was discovered, with targets of the anomaly detailing their experiences with their own instances of 6485. At the time of posting it, it reached 6.4 thousand upvotes and stayed in hot for 2 days. A transcription of the thread is available below. Title: Have any of you seen your child's soft toy come to life? Posted by user octopus fan 65. Posted on September 12th, 2019. Post comment contents. I'm not sure if it's just my imagination or not, so I just want to make sure. User Annalie 2003. Not my child, but a keychain belonging to my boyfriend. I found it on my hospital bed after a motorcycle accident we got into the night of his JC graduation that claimed his life. It was just a little pink bear toy that he attached to his keys, but he loved it like it was his child. SIE. I think at one point I was even jealous of it. I didn't understand why he loved it so much. After his death, I cared so much for it as it was my last memory of him. From what I can see from y'all here, I don't think it was hallucinating. I was hallucinating from grief when I saw it moving and trying to talk to me. It also encouraged me to see his family to cry together, and even shared his own memories of him with me. It actually helped turn a horrible memory to a bittersweet one. Typing this through my tears right now. I hope and I miss you every day, Richard. User Darren B. Yeah, it was a small dove toy that appeared after my daughter's death. I think I said it appeared maybe 30 to 40 minutes after she died, but I only really noticed it when I was at the hospital. Thought I was going crazy till I went to my parents' support group and saw a few others with something similar. I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but based on what I've seen from all y'all's responses, I figured my experience is similar enough to share. User Alice NW 1I76. Yes, that happened after my baby Ronan's death. It was a little plastic fisherman and boat toy we got from a cruise ship, which he played with all the time. He always had a fascination with boats, and since we lived next to a riverbank, he'd go there to play with it almost every day. Our house wasn't too far off from town, but it was far enough that we'd have some privacy. But when a fire broke out, the fire department couldn't locate us in time. A lot of the toy was destroyed during the fire like all his other stuff, but when I got back from the hospital, it was sitting at the place where his room once was. Undamaged and on top of all the rumble, where I picked it up and I took a closer look, I realized the fisherman was moving and trying to get my attention. I remember dropping out a shot causing it to shatter, but it fixed itself up before I could register what had happened. I decided to just play along because what else did I have to lose? And as silly as it is, it actually helped me come to terms with his death and slowly move on from it. As for now, it always seemed to be on my side, which is good. I mean, it's on my desk staring at me while I write this out. I don't know what I'd do if I lost it. It's the only thing I have left of Ronan. Following discovery of the thread, user octopusfan65, real name Dolores Brown, was contacted and brought to Site 85 for an interview. Interview log 6485.1. Interview Dolores Brown, referred to as Miss Brown. Interviewee, Dr. Jonas. Alright. Begin log. Dr. Jonas enters the room with 2 cups of coffee and hands one over to Miss Brown. Dr. Jonas.
Good morning, Mr. Brown. Is there anything else you would like me to get to you?
Miss Brown. Getting ready to you too. Coffee's fine.
Okay then. I'm Dr. Jonas, and today I'll be asking you some questions about the thread on Reddit that you posted. All your responses will be completely confidential and will only be shared within my team. So feel free to share frankly. This interview should last about 20 minutes, and if there's any topics you feel uncomfortable discussing, please let me know and we can move on to a different question. Now, before we begin, is there anything you would like to ask?
Miss Brown shakes her head.
To get started, do you remember what you posted last year?
I think so. Are you referring to my post on No Stupid Questions?
Yes.
I see.
How did you know what I was talking about?
It is the only post I have there.
Why did you post it?
I found it moving around and trying to talk to me. I didn't know whether I was hallucinating from my grief or not, so I just decided to post it. Posted it on my throwaway account, as I didn't want relatives to snoop around and find out Octopus Fan was me, because, God, they are fucking insensitive. After I got the answers I was looking for, I just forgot about it until you contacted me about it.
Could you tell me more about what you found? How you found it and what happened after?
I found his octopus on my bed, the day after his death, and when I saw it, I just started crying. I don't really know why. Maybe it was just the memories coming back when I saw it. But I thought I was alone, and I thought I had some privacy, so I vented to the air on how it was unfair. How it was unfair that my son had to go through so much suffering when he was born. It was unfair that he had to live early. How it was unfair that he was taken so soon from my husband and I. Then I started to remember the memories I had with my boy, my sweet little Justin. Mr. Brown pauses for a few seconds and sighs. Sorry,
It's fine. It's fine. Take your time.
when I stopped crying, I noticed that the octopus had moved next to me. It was looking at me, and that was when I realized it was moving, and I assumed trying to talk to me. I was terrified, to say the least. After I calmed down, I tried talking to it, and it seemed like it could understand me. I gave it some paper and pencils, and that's how we communicated from then on. I didn't know what to do or who to go to, so I decided to use my alt to ask. No stupid questions.
What did the octopus do to you?
Initially gave me some company by staying with me. It stayed fairly quiet and helped around the house when I creeped in my room. I was still kind of scared of it as, come on, it was alive, but I eventually opened up and it started talking with me more. It tried to give me some advice, but I didn't listen to it at first.
Why didn't you do so?
My husband and I decided to take a break and stay separately after his death to process everything, as I didn't want to burden anybody with my grief. And I'm sure he didn't as well, but as octopus was so adamant in helping me, I decided to listen to it. I listened when I cried. It listened when I cried, and talked about Justin helped ensure that I look after myself physically. It also tried to get me into some hobbies like animation or guitar, to take my mind off my loss. Eventually, it even encouraged me to meet my husband. And that was when I found out he also had a similar octopus. It was helping him deal with Justin. They even found us a support group of bereaved parents and encouraged us to join their meetings.
I see, and I hope that those suggestions have helped you in some ways. Anyways, how's your experience with the octopus made you feel?
I felt very appreciative as I had someone that I could listen to me vent, even if that someone was a soft toy. Helped lift a huge emotional weight off my soldiers. And I felt that if it wasn't for it, my depressive state would have lasted for much longer. It also took care of me when I couldn't take care of myself. I ensure my mental and physical well-being is okay, and constantly encouraged me to get back on my feet. And I'm eternally grateful for that. When time goes by and the condolences and sympathies from friends and family slowly lessen as they go back to their own lives, it has stayed with us since then and continuously tried helping us. I have learned to accept his death, and now I have to learn to heal and move on, but fuck, I can't. I still miss him daily. I miss the joy that he brought to me. I miss his giggles. I miss everything. Even though we spent each day like it was his last, I didn't want it to come so soon. Miss Brown starts talking, takes a tissue and wipes her tears. I'd give anything to hear or hold him again, even if it's just for one day. A parent's love for a child is too strong.
I understand that sentiment, and I'm really sorry about the loss of your son. You have my condolences, and I hope you'll be able to heal. Anyways, Miss Brown, that's all I have to ask. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. End log. She was subsequently administered Class A amnestics as well as 2 trackers for her husband's and her 6485 instance. By typing this in, we get the SCP-6485 archived documents.
Oh.
Oh my gosh! And 6485 gets to speak this time.
Oh.
Interview log 6485.1. Interviewed SCP-6485. Interviewer Dr. Jonas. Forward, as SCP-6485 is incapable of producing any vocalizations, it is allowed to write its answers on a whiteboard provided. All future logs, including 6485, will be logged in a similar way. Begin log. Dr. Jonas.
SCP-6485, are you able to understand what I am saying?
SCP-6485 nods his head.
Are you able to communicate through speech?
6485 shakes his head and makes a writing gesture. Silence follows for approximately 30 seconds as Dr. Jones searches for and takes out a whiteboard and marker.
Can you write something on the whiteboard?
Alright.
Can you introduce yourself?
I am Charlie's teddy bear. I was a gift for him on his 3rd birthday, and he loved you so much. We spent so much time together, and he never left home without me. However, as we grew up, he stopped playing with me as much, and he threw me away after leaving to live with his girlfriend.
Are there other instances of you appearing elsewhere?
No, I don't think so.
What did you remember after you manifested?
I remember that after she noticed me in her bedroom, she got a call. I'm assuming that it was to break the news to her, as she fainted after picking it up. When I woke her up, she was muttering about how he couldn't possibly be dead, before she started laughing about how stupid she was for believing the call.
She thought that the call from Dr. Agnes was a lie. Did you try to convince her otherwise?
She was only on the call for half a minute, so I don't think the caller had time to convince her to explain. I tried to do it myself, but she continued to ignore me until you brought her here. So I waited for the news to settle in.
So while you were waiting for her to process the news, what did you do?
Seeing as how I couldn't convince her, I observed her daily routine so I could help her fall back into it before she alters it too much when she is grieving.
What?
I think I'm seeing little particle effects in the document.
Particle effects?
Yeah, little weird dots.
Weird. I don't see it on your screen.
I don't know, I'm seeing weird little white dots going upwards.
Huh.
Oh well.
Why exactly are you so keen on helping her in the first place?
6485 pauses for a moment and scratches his head. I want to provide physical companionship and lend a listening ear to her, as she has no one else to grieve to. I don't want her to hurt herself or put off any feelings because she has nobody to turn to.
How do you know that she has no one to turn to?
She was living alone in her house and barely went on while I was there, so I assume that she doesn't have anybody to reach out to.
I see. Thank you for your time, SCP-6485.
End log.
I think I just spotted what is going on. I think it's like some variant of a snow animation placed over the file.
Okay, so you see it too. I'm not going crazy.
Yeah.
Interview logs. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was gonna just say, I think it's just harder to notice.
Interview log 6485.2. Interviewed Lily Upston, referred to as Miss Upston. Interviewer Dr. Jonas. Begin log. Dr. Jonas.
Good morning, Miss Upston.
Miss Upston. Good morning.
I am Dr. Jonas, Mr. Upston's colleague. Could you tell me more about where you found the teddy bear?
Well, I saw it sitting on my bed after my morning jog. It freaked me out a little as I remember it could not sit up straight when Charlie had it, and it was thrown away when he moved out.
When did you first notice that something was out of the ordinary?
I got a call from someone who I assumed to be his colleague, telling me that Charlie was dead. I fainted from the shock and woke up on my bed somehow, and that was when I noticed the bear was pressing a wet towel on my face. I freaked out after realizing that I was not imagining things, and I threw it out my window. But when I turned back, it was on my bed. Then I tried running out of the house, but it was on my dining table when I got to the first floor.
Do you recall your conversation with Dakota?
How could I forget? It was horrible. I couldn't understand her as she was crying and apologizing over and over before I had the time to prepare. When I finally asked her what had happened, she told me that Charlie was dead. I fainted, and by the time I woke up, she had already hung up on me.
Did you try calling her back?
Miss Upston shakes her head. It was probably a joke, so I just didn't bother.
Dr. Jonas sighs. There's no easy way to explain this.
Huh? What do you mean?
It wasn't a joke. I'm so sorry, Miss Upston, but he is gone.
What? You're lying, right? Why would you say such a thing?
I found this dead body next to Dr. Agnes, the person who called you last week. He was killed when a specimen escaped from our laboratory and broke through one of the walls. Unfortunately, Dr. Upston was standing on the opposite side when it broke free and was killed by it.
No. He isn't dead. Not after he promised to me that he would keep himself safe after his... Miss Upson begins crying. No. He is fine. He is in his office right now, right? Right? Miss Upson stands up and hits the table. Fucking answer me. You people have a lot of fucking nerve to force him to stay back during Thanksgiving break until the point where he started responding to my calls and didn't visit me, even after he told me that he took some time off to return. Dr. Jonas crosses his arms and stares silently at Miss Upston. She pauses for a second before her expression changes to one of realization as she slowly falls back to her chair. Oh my God, Charlie. No, Charlie! Miss Upston begins sobbing uncontrollably. Charlie! My poor baby, it can't be. SCP-6485 manifests next to her and begins to rub her back. It then proceeds to look up at Dr. Jonas and shakes his head. Dr. Jonas sighs, stands up and walks to the camera and turns it off. End log.
Yeah, I agree with the SCP.
Yep. Video log 6485.1. Begin log. The door to Miss Upson's room opens in 6485 and she walks in. She collapses to the floor crying loudly as 6485 closes the door and attempts to console her. Dr. Jonas opens the door slightly and attempts to enter, but 6485 peeks its head out the door and shakes its head before closing the door again. Miss Upston. I'll kill them. I'll fucking kill each and every one who caused Charlie to die. Why didn't they keep him safe? Why did they let this happen? Miss Upston continues to cry and scream for the next 5 minutes. Dialogue is incomprehensible and unintelligible. Charlie, why? You promised you'd stay with me. Why did you leave Mommy so soon? Why did you let this happen? End log. Notes. Following her interview, Miss Upston became uncooperative with Foundation personnel and has refused to partake in further interviews. All attempts at conversation with her have been deemed ineffective. The following is a video log of a negotiation done between 6485 and Dr. Jonas 2 days after the events of the following interview, log 6485.2. Video log 6485.2. Begin log. Dr. Jonas.
Good evening, SCP-6485. How's Miss Upston doing?
SCP-6485. Terrible. She has been crying non-stop in her bed for the past 2 weeks. I haven't left her side much because I'm afraid of her hurting herself, but I've been managing to get her to sleep more often the past few days. 6485 looks up and notices Dr. Jonas' expression. You don't have to apologize. She was bound to find out sooner or later.
Alright, do you know why I've called you here?
6485 shakes his head.
Miss Upston has been uncooperative to our request over the past few weeks, and she has refused to talk to anyone that isn't you. So I'm trying to come up with a compromise to allow us to keep track of her emotional well-being while giving her some time alone to grieve.
Well, that should be expected. She is still trying to understand what happened. It will probably take days, weeks, maybe even months before she's fully able to get a grip on her feelings. Trying to force it out of her will only make things worse. Maybe you could interview me instead, and I could tell you what we've done together.
I thought of that, but I prefer that she herself tell us her genuine feelings, as she could fake it when she is around you. I'm not so sure whether you will be able to read her feelings properly enough to give her a proper summary. However, if you are able to do so, feel free to tell me.
6485 stays silent for a minute before it begins writing its response. Maybe I could still help. How about a weekly checkup? Why don't you give me some questions I can ask? Then you can record our sessions and use that instead of interviews. It doesn't seem like she's in the mood to talk with anyone from your foundation.
Alright then, thank you so much for helping.
You're welcome. See you soon. 6485 wipes his whiteboard, jumps off the chair, and waves to Dr. Jonas. End log. Video logs. Huh?
Sorry.
You're saying something?
Yeah, to be fair, if I was her, I'd probably speak to the Foundation after how badly that guy bungled it.
Yeah. Video log 6485.3. Begin log. The door to Miss Upson's room opens and SCP-6485 walks in with a piece of paper and its whiteboard. She can be seen lying awake on her bed, staring at the wall. Her eyes are noticeably red with rings under her eyelids as well. Her breakfast can be seen untouched and uneaten at the foot of her bed. 6485 walks towards her bed and climbs onto it before shaking her. Good afternoon, Miss Upton. How are you feeling? Miss Upton does not respond. How are you doing today? Miss Upton does not seem to notice 6485 and does not respond. 6485 places the whiteboard down and shakes her, causing her to turn towards it. She rubs her eyes and looks at the whiteboard. I'm fine. Leave me alone, please. Miss Upton attempts to lie down, but is stopped by 6485. What do you want? I just want to know how you're feeling. I told you already. I'm fine. Have you eaten your breakfast yet? It turns to look at the tray of uneaten food, climbs down the bed, and picks up the mug of coffee. It climbs back onto the bed and passes it to Miss Upton. Drink it. Have you showered? Why are you so concerned? Just leave me be, alright? No, I won't. I want to know how you're feeling so I can help you. Help? Alright, you can help me by leaving me alone. I told you already, I can't, and I won't do that. I understand if you want to grieve alone, but we cannot just stay here and do nothing. I want to help you cope with the news and help you get better. But I can't help you if you don't tell me what's wrong. I know that you want to leave this place, but we can't do so unless you cooperate. Fine. I'd do it. If I answer your questions, will you leave me alone for the rest of the day? Yes. Alright, then go on. 6485 quickly looks at a piece of paper before turning back to Miss Upston. Have you seen a therapist before this? I attended sessions for a month after. Something happened, but it's not going after. Why is that so? It gets expensive quickly, and I couldn't afford it. Even when I could, I tried my best to go weekly. But given where I was mentally, there were times I couldn't bring myself to go. Despite me trying to force myself to go, I also had to be there for Charlie, so I guess... Miss Upton gestures. I had to put up a front, force myself to be okay, so that he wouldn't worry. Also, he was also dealing with depression because of that same incident. So I had to try to do my best to help him out of that. But now he's gone. Miss Upton stays silent. Do you mind telling me when you first heard the news? I received a call a couple weeks ago from my colleague. She was crying, screaming, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. It was just awful. After telling her to calm down, she managed to choke out that he was gone. I got a little lightheaded from the suddenness of the news and fainted. When I woke up, she had hung up already. I heard that you thought that it was a joke. Why would you think it was one? I just didn't want to believe it. I think the suddenness of the call and how I was immediately overwhelmed with her emotions played a part in me not believing it. Did you consider at any point of time between receiving the call to you being brought here that the contents of the call might have been true? I did have a snark gut feeling that slowly got worse the more I tried to contact him. It got worse when Thanksgiving came and he didn't visit me like he had promised. His girlfriend called me a day before asking if I've seen him, which confused me because I thought he would be with her already. When I tried contacting him, he didn't answer my messages or calls. And that was when I seriously considered that the worst might have happened. Nevertheless, I tried staying positive and tried to convince myself that it was probably held back over the holidays at work. When I was brought here, though, the dread and worry slowly got worse and worse. Even when I was fighting so hard to deny it, it got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. Ended up letting it all out during my initial interview. I see. Even with that thought that he might be dead, why did you try so hard to deny it? Miss Upson stays silent for 2 minutes before talking. I don't want to talk about it. It hurts. It fucking hurts so much to think about it. Trying to force myself to think everything was alright. Trying to tell myself he was fine. It just hurts. Okay, we'll move on. Would you have acted any differently during the interview if you believed the call immediately? No. I can't imagine myself believing it so quickly that I would probably have tried everything to deny that. Even if I could, I probably would have let out that pent-up emotion and would just ended up the same as I am now. Miss Upton stays silent for another minute before continuing. I'm so sorry, but I really don't know what else to say. Is this good enough? What do you mean? It's just everything just happened so quickly. Like, I just heard news that Charlie died, and now, only a few days later, I am here having a therapy session with a fucking teddy bear that moves and talks. I barely had any time to make sense of my emotions or grieve, and now I have to... Miss Upton gestures. Try and find a way to explain it when I have no clue how to. 6485 places his piece of paper aside. Forget about this. If it helps, why not take this less as a therapy session and more of a safe space where you can try to make more sense of your feelings? Miss Upton stays silent for several minutes. Just as 6485 begins to write, she speaks up. You know, it's just so unfair. Just when things were looking up for him, Miss Upton shakes her head as her voice cracks. Passed away. Why him? He had such a bright future ahead of him. Why couldn't it have been me instead? I have the good life already. Why are you saying that? Don't you have anybody back there? Your husband, maybe? Miss Upton stays silent as 6485 quickly erases his response. I was really excited to meet him again, you know? When I heard that he was offered an internship here, I was so happy for him. I was so excited to hear about the things he had done, all the people he met, and all the friends he made. I even brought the ingredients for that special mac and cheese he loves so much. Like, finally, after half a year of only meeting him through Skype or through calls, I could see him again face to face. I didn't think that he would pass away so soon. Now I just wish that I could see him again and tell him how much I loved him and how I'm so proud of him. I want to hear his voice again, telling me stories of what he has done with his friends, hearing him gush over his girlfriend, or hear him say, I love you, Mom, again. I miss him so much. I don't know. I guess that's how I really feel. I'm not sure if that's good enough, but that's what I can make out of the moment. That's fine. It's okay. We've made some progress, and that's what matters. Any progress is good progress, and we can always take it one day at a time. Go get some rest, okay? Alright. End log. Video log 6485.4. Begin log. SCP-6485 enters Miss Upson's room with a tray of food. It sets the tray down next to her bed, climbs on top of her, and begins shaking her. Miss Upson groans and turns around, grabs 6485, and throws it at the wall. She proceeds to cover herself with the blanket as 6485 climbs onto the bed again and sits down next to her. After 10 minutes, 6485 shakes her back again and she sits up. What do you want? 6485 gestures at the tray and she picks it up. She stares at the food as 6485 grabs the whiteboard and begins writing. Good morning. You didn't seem to be eating as much lately, so I went ahead and made some breakfast for you. Miss Upson picks up a cup from the tray and sips it. How do you know that I like this type of coffee? Lucky guess, I suppose. Once you're done, you should really go and shower. Our next therapy session starts in an hour. Miss Upson sighs, sets the tray down on the bedside table, throws the blanket over herself. I'm sorry, but I don't feel like attending the sessions anymore. What? I can't do that. It's already been confirmed that you would be attending therapy sessions with me. You can't stop now. I can't. I don't feel comfortable talking about Charlie anymore. 6485 climbs onto the bed and sits down next to Miss Upton. Why is that so? Well, I don't really like how everything has to be recorded, I guess. Like, I don't feel like I get the confidentiality of a normal therapy session. And I don't feel comfortable sharing much with Dr. Jones. If you don't feel comfortable sharing information with him, why don't you share it with me? I don't think that you're the best, no offense. But I just don't think you're shared much common experiences of Charlie with me. Of course I haven't, but that doesn't mean that you can't share them with me. 6485 reaches behind his back and pulls out a photograph and hands it over to Miss Upton before it resumes writing. Could you tell me about this picture? How did you get this picture? What do you mean? This picture was destroyed during the fire a few years ago. Where did you get this from? I'm not so sure. It just appeared when I reached behind my back. Could you tell me more about what's in this picture? This was taken during his first birthday. It was just so amazing. I was so happy and I guess relieved. Like I managed to make it past the first year of parenthood without much difficulty. It was just so surprising how quickly he turned 1. How about this one? Who is she? 6485 passes another picture to Miss Upton and points at a girl in it. Oh, she's his girlfriend, Asuka. They grew up together, so they were close. They managed to stay in contact after he moved and started dating soon after. 6485 nods and reaches for another picture. What about him? Miss Upton looks at the picture from 6485. That would be his best friend. They met in kindergarten and managed to end up in the same schools together. So they were also very close. Mrs. Upton pauses. Oh no, how do I tell them he's gone? They've got to be so worried. I think that there may be similar versions of me showing up to inform them of his death. Similar versions? I overheard an interview between that Jonas guy from earlier and someone else, and she mentioned that her husband and she had something similar to show up after their child's death. There could be a chance that a similar version of me manifests after his passing to inform them of it. Oh. I'm curious. With you talking about how Charlie met his best friend and girlfriend, how did you meet your husband? Oh, me? I met him as a client for project work. After everything was complete, we continued to talk and meet up and we ended up getting together. A couple months later, the rest is pretty much history. Miss Upson stays silent with a small smile on her face. I fell in love, and when Charlie was born, I fell in love again. It was the happiest 19 years of my life. Wasn't Charlie 21 when he passed? Why did he say 19 only? Oh no. Miss Upston looks away and stays silent. 6485 quickly erases its response and takes out another picture. What about this picture? Miss Upson receives the picture from 6485 and begins tearing up while she looks at it. 6485 quickly places a hand in hers as she covers her mouth and starts sobbing. After 3 minutes, Miss Upson composes herself and turns to 6485. This is a picture of my husband and Charlie. We looked so happy back then. 6485 passes a box of tissues to Miss Upson. This was taken during his college graduation. It was one of the happiest days of my life. I was so proud of him. I'd give anything to spend a day with him again. I miss him so much. If only I told him not to go to that party. If only I told him not to accept the job offer here. Maybe they wouldn't be gone. Maybe I won't be here. Miss Upson starts crying again. After his father's death, he promised me he'd never leave me. Now it's this one promise I hoped he'd never break, but Miss Upson sobs as 6485 puts down the photographs and hugs her. I'm sorry, I need some space. Could you tell one of the people here that I won't be going for today's session? 6485 nods and leaves the room. Miss Upson sobs silently as she shifts through the photograph. She looks at the graduation picture and touches Dr. Upson's face. She then hugs a stack of pictures as she continues to cry. After nearly 30 minutes, she lies back down on the bed and covers herself with the blanket. She proceeds to cry herself to sleep. 6485 returns to Miss Upson's room, notices her lying down on the bed. It walks towards her and climbs onto her bed. It gently shakes her for a few seconds before stopping and sits down against her. End log. Video log 6485.5. Begin log. The door to Mrs. Upson's room opens, and 6485 walks in. She can be seen sleeping on her bed, her breakfast untouched and uneaten at the foot of the bed. It climbs onto her bed and gently shakes her. Miss Upson wakes up, notices 6485, and rubs her eyes. What do you want now? I'm worried for you. You haven't been eating a lot, and everyone's been concerned, since you haven't talked much with anyone else. Well, you can tell them to stop worrying. I'm fine, yeah. So don't worry about me, alright? Just leave me alone. I'll figure things out by myself, okay? I can't do that. I've already done so for 2 weeks, and you haven't shown any signs of improvement at all. Please, just let me help you, alright? 6485 intends to reach out to Miss Upson, but is pushed away from her. Help? What do you mean, help? You haven't done anything ever since you came into my life, so why don't you say any different? When I want time to myself so I can grieve alone, you barged into my personal space. When I talked to you about Charlie, you never offered me any word of advice, form of consolation, or help. Even when you try helping, make things much worse. When you showed me those photos, it made me feel even worse because it reminds me they're gone. Silence for a moment. It gave me the reminder that they've never come back. That I'll never see them again. Whenever I look at the pictures you gave me, it just hurts. It's tough to think of what could have been. All the possibilities of the future I could have had if they weren't taken from me so soon. I'm so sorry for lashing out. It's just, I can't deal with this pain anymore. What are you saying? It's okay. We can stop here, right? Just let me go. I have no one to live for anyways. I just want to see them again. No, I can't let you do that. We made some progress already. You can't just give up now. Miss Upson ignores 6485, lies back down and throws the blanket over herself. Please, just leave me alone, okay? End log. Video log 6485.6. Begin log. The door to Miss Upston's room opens and 6485 walks in. She can be seen sleeping on the bed, and as it walks towards her bed with its whiteboard, it climbs up her bed and shakes her awake. Was this how Charlie felt last time? What do you want? Someone has requested me to let her see you. She's waiting outside right now. Would you like her to enter? Mrs. Upston stares suspiciously at 6485, causing it to quickly write something else. She's a friend of Charlie's who wants to speak with you. Miss Upston's expression softens and she nods hesitantly. 6485 quickly jumps off the bed and leaves her room. A moment passes, and 6485 walks back in again alongside junior researcher Lilith Agnes. Dr. Agnes walks towards Miss Upston as 6485 pulls a chair over to the bed. 6485 nudges her, prompting her to continue. Hi, Miss Upton. I'm Miss Agnes, one of Charlie's friends and colleagues. I wanted to meet you today. How did you two meet? Huh? How did you and Charlie meet? Oh, Dr. Agnes sits down. Well, we were good together for orientation, and while he was really nice, I didn't want to get too close to him because I thought we'd never see each other again. But we just kept getting paired together for projects, and slowly we got to know more about each other and become friends. I think that us having similar jobs also helped us get grouped together more often. Well, what was some of the work he did? I think I remember he said something about him being a psychiatrist. But when I asked him to elaborate, I think he said he couldn't say too much. It kind of surprised me because he studied biology, if I remember correctly. But he ended up working as something completely different. So could you tell me more about it? Alright. Let's see. If I remember correctly, he was supposed to be assigned to the biology department after orientation. One of the psychiatrists was reassigned to a different branch just before that and needed a volunteer to fill in for the time being. Charlie volunteered for it, and after his first session, his performance was impressive enough that he was recommended to change departments. He didn't want to originally, but I think I told him to just go for it. It took a little more persuasion, but he eventually agreed. It was the right choice because he turned out to be really, really amazing. He was just so compassionate and wanted to help out those who asked. He also took the time to learn about each and every one of his clients so he could connect with them better. As our work involves bringing, Dr. Agnes hesitates, people with interest and keeping them here. And due to how often unexpected things happen every day, it puts a great deal of stress on everyone. And around the beginning of our internship, this branch was going through some financial issues, which added to that stress as well. Still, he always put on a smile and encourages all of us, and that positivity also caused Dr. Agnes gestures, a gradual uplift in the mood around here, I'd say. I've seen some colleagues who had that air of sadness or stress being able to relax when they were around Charlie. Colleagues who were inspired by his helpfulness and positivity and changed themselves for the better. So when Dr. Agnes pauses, died, it just came to a huge shock to everyone. I'm not sure if you ever noticed, but he has changed so many lives and helped so many people. His care and compassion really shined through, and he really gave a lot to us and expected really little in return. That was probably why I started liking him. You liked him? I crushed hard on Charlie when I first met him. I don't know what it was about him that made me fall in love with him, but I really, really liked him. I thought that it was infatuation that after meeting during orientation, I'd get over it and move on. But with how often we met and talked, that was when I realized I actually developed a crush on him. I tried to suppress my feelings as I knew he had a girlfriend, but I decided that I should just tell him. So I told him to follow me to my office so I can confess. But I just thought it would have been better to do that in private instead of doing so in like the canteen. The sick and selfish part of me thought that this was like some anime that if I confessed, he would actually love me back. But that selfishness was what got him killed. Dr. Agnes starts crying. I loved him. Miss Upston, I loved him. And now I have to live with the fact that he's dead because of me. I see him there every night when I close my eyes. His body lying there in the hallway. If I didn't ask him to come to my office that day, maybe he would have lived. So don't blame the Foundation. Blame me. Miss Upston leans in and hugs Dr. Agnes. The two women cry. Miss Upston attempts to console Dr. Agnes. I'm so sorry. I caused him to die. Hey, don't blame yourself. Miss Upston hesitates and reconsiders. It's nobody's fault he's dead, alright? I've heard what you said after you heard the news. It's been eating me up inside. When I heard what you said about the Foundation, knowing that I caused all this pain and grief to you, and everyone else having to be the ones to take the blame for it, I just couldn't live myself knowing he's dead because of me. If I just waited or confessed at literally any other time before that. Miss Upston stays silent for a minute before speaking. My dear husband's Charlie's dad went to a client's party after he secured a huge business deal with them. It was perfect as well. It's granted us enough money for all three of us to live comfortably for the rest of our lives. Thing was, before he accepted the invite to the party, he asked me if I was planning on doing anything that night, and I told him no. So he went off to celebrate, and he partied till the very early hours in the morning. Thing was, his client's house was a bit far from our town, kind of a high up in the mountains. While he wasn't drunk, he must have thought that since it was kind of late, there wouldn't be anyone else on that road, and so he went pretty fast. What he didn't know was that there was a bit of a thunderstorm that happened during the party, and his car slipped. It plummeted a few hundred feet off the side of the mountain and crashed. And he died. Well, I hope he died instantly. After what happened, I shared a similar sentiment to you, with all the what-ifs and the thoughts of what would have happened if I said something different. He's a family guy. He always puts us above everyone else, so if I told him I was planning on making dinner or eating out, he would have agreed to do so as well. So if I had said something different back then, he probably would have lived. That regret, that guilt of knowing that if I'd said something else, he wouldn't be dead. And then I learned that Charlie's dead as well, while I'm still trying to heal from my husband's death. It just hurts so much. So please, don't blame yourself for what I said. It was me lashing out at that time, okay? I wasn't thinking straight when I said that, okay? I just don't know how to feel at that time, and I choose to blame everyone. I thought that the people here in your branch just didn't care about Charlie when he died. But now after hearing it from you, someone who is close to and afraid of him, hearing how much he helped out all of you, I realized I was wrong. Miss Upston looks into Dr. Agnes's eyes. It is something I also had to come to terms with as well. That it is no one's fault for Charlie's death. I'm so sorry I've made you feel this way for so long. Please don't worry about how I feel. I forgive you. Dr. Agnes bursts into sobs and hugs Miss Upston again, crying and apologizing as Miss Upston pats her back and whispers words of forgiveness. To be honest, I'm still figuring out my feelings on my own, and I don't know how it's going to be from this point forward. Turns her head towards SCP-6485. But I know there's someone to help and guide me through this process. Make it easier to grieve and come to terms with it. But I don't think that there will be people as lucky as me to have some sort of support group to deal with it. That's why I want to pay it forward and give you that shoulder to cry on if you need it. Dr. Agnes tearfully nods. If I may ask, how is he like? Oh, he was really nice. A real sweetheart. He was such a beacon of positivity. And it was a real refresher for all of us. Because working here is quite stressful. He goes out of his way to help anyone who has any trouble. He was very easy to open up to. Like I said, he helps out so many people here. And even though it was his job to do so, I could tell that he truly had a care for each and every one of the people he's worked with. He was friends with everyone here, but for me, he was my only friend, which was why I was so close to him. I'm not sure if he did this intentionally or not, but I think he did, as he would spend more time with me than his other friends here. Just talking with me after work, eating our meals together, or helping me with work when I needed it the most. I think these little interactions were what caused us to grow closer when he was working here. Last 15 minutes of the conversation have been declared irrelevant. The state extended transcript, submit request to Site Director Light. End log. Video log 6485.7. The first 5 minutes of conversation have been declared irrelevant. State extended transcript, submit a request to Site Director Light. Begin log. SCP-6485. So, have you thought about what you're going to do? Miss Upston. I want to try to move on. I thought about it after meeting with Miss Agnes, and I feel like I have to, right? I have to pull myself together, not only for my sake, but for Charlie. I don't think he would like to see me what I've become. I see, but don't feel pressure to move on just because you think someone else wants you to. If you don't feel ready to move on just yet, I'll wait for you. But to be sure, are you ready to start? No. After what you said, I don't think I spent enough time grieving. And I feel like if I moved on too quickly, that feeling may still linger within me and engulf me when I'm not expecting it. I also not ready to move on from someone who I've raised for 20 years of my life in just like 2-3 months. I see. I understand if you don't want to move on so quickly. As I said, it's fine. We can take it one day at a time. But what is grief if not love preserving? At the end of the day, the reason why you're grieving is because of the love you have for Charlie. It reminds you that you've loved, and you always continue to love him. It's easy to feel astray after you lost someone so close to you, especially since you've already lost your husband recently. But I'm here to help point you in the right direction and guide you on the road to recovery. I see. I guess there's a part of me that does want to try to move on. But I don't want to just ignore and tune out the negative feelings inside of me. I don't know what regret's been eating me up inside. And the more I think about it, the worse I feel. What do you mean? I really regret not spending enough time with Charlie. It's something I felt after his father's death, but I still thought we would have much more time. I shouldn't have shunned him so long. I know he was really affected by the suddenness of what happened, and I should have helped and supported him through it. I wish I could have brought him out for dinner and sit down and have a nice talk with him, or go out with him. I heard a place we used to go to with his father as someone new, but Mrs. Upson's voice cracks. I can't anymore. It's hard to swallow the fact that I'll never be able to spend another birthday with him, another Christmas, or another New Year's. That I'll never be able to see him or get married or start a family. But I don't want to dwell on what could have been, and instead focus on what he has done already. I just hope wherever he is, his father will be there to accompany him, and when my time comes, I'll be able to see them again. Miss Upson pauses. I'm sorry if I'm being too negative, but I miss them a lot. I couldn't stop thinking about them after I saw that photo. That just reminded me of how... Miss Upson hesitates. How people I've loved are gone now. It's okay. I'm here for you, and I promise I'll continue to be here for you every step of the way. 6485 sits down at its whiteboard and sits next to Miss Upson as she cries. End log. Audio log 6485.1. Forward, the following audio log was recorded after Miss Upson requests to see Dr. Jonas. The first 10 minutes of conversation have been declared irrelevant. See the extended transcript, submit a request to Site Director Light. Begin log. Miss Upston, can I ask a question? Dr. Jonas,
Go ahead.
have you met my son? What was he like?
Oh, Charlie. I'm sorry to say, but I only met him a couple of times when he was working here. However, with the minimal interactions, I could tell that he was very friendly, an optimistic person. Even in his line of work, I've heard a lot of good things from coworkers of his about how he was super friendly and helpful to others here. How he was very easy to open up to, and how he was really ambitious and bright.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice to hear. I'm quite relieved that he was still a nice gentleman when he was working here, and seems to have a common impression that everyone shares. He gives me some assurance that I know we raised him well. I wanted to ask this as well, but kept forgetting. What happened to his body?
We held the perfect funeral for him. It's something our branch does for colleagues who have passed on, and to help honor their memory and remember the contributions. We usually send their bodies back to their families afterwards for them to arrange their funerals, the way they see fit. But during our initial visit to your house, because of your teddy bear and how you reacted to the initial interview, we didn't want to burden you with the weight and emotion of reading that warning.
So where is his body now? What did you do to it?
We ended up deciding that the burial would be more appropriate. He's currently buried in your hometown's cemetery. Southvale Cemetery, is that correct?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for really taking into consideration my mental state when deciding on what to do. I'm really sorry I inconvenienced you like this.
No worries. It's the least we could do for the bright mind who left us so early.
So what about his belongings? What happened to them?
They're currently in storage, but I feel like we could give them back to you tomorrow.
Yes, please. I think that it might help me find some closure by looking through his things. End log. Video log 6485.8. First 5 minutes of conversation have been declared irrelevant. To see the extended transcript, submit a request to Site Director Light. Begin log 6485. What would you like to go through today? Miss Upston. A co-worker of Chatty's gave me some boxes of his personal belongings, so I picked one and was thinking that we could go through this today. I didn't really help much when he was packing to stay here, so I thought it would be interesting what he brought. Alright. 6485 climbs into the box and takes out several photo frames. It seemingly hesitates before passing them to Miss Upston. She looks through the pictures and smiles. That's where the graduation photo went. I know you can make one, but it's kind of surreal looking at the original photograph. Oh, and this picture of him and Asuka at Disney. Turns to look at 6485. He's quite a sentimental boy. Something his father taught him since young. Ever since we lost our photos to the house fire, he's got into taking Polaroids and taking small tokens as memories. I'm glad to see he's managed to bring a couple here. Miss Upton looks at a picture of researcher Charlie, taken during orientation, and smiles. Wow, he looks so smart. He kind of looks like his dad here. Was this really 6 months ago? Miss Upton sets the picture frame down onto the bed, and 6485 takes a small wooden horse out. It passes it to her, and she looks at it in wonder. What's that? Oh my god. I didn't know you still had this. She turns to look at 6485. This was a horse that his dad sculpted for him as part of his zoo toy set for his 6th birthday. He liked this one the most. His dad always told him that horses represented resilience and strength, and it became some sort of charm that he would carry about. I thought he threw it out when he moved in with his girlfriend, but I guess not. Are there any other animals in the set here? Miss Upson looks at the box. 6485 takes several Polaroid pictures out and passes them to her. Oh, speaking of Polaroids. Silence as Miss Upson reads the captions. These must be his friends here. Orientation 2020. Oh, there's Mr. Jonas, and that's Miss Agnes. Miss Upton sifts through the other pictures. Yeah, she appears in most in all these photos. It seems like this is a weekly thing. Miss Upton digs through a box and takes out every Polaroid she can see, then sorts through them until she finds the most recent picture. She looks at it and smiles sadly. So this is how Charlie looked like before he passed. One last picture before Thanksgiving. He looks so happy with his friends. She gathers and quickly organizes the photos before gently moving them to the side. She then takes the journal out and flips it open to a random page. What does it say? Let's see. There are quite a few sketches of circles and to-do list here. Miss Upson flips through the pages until she finds an entry. Ah, alright. It finally arrived. I'm not sure how it managed to make it past foundation checks. But that's fine, it's arrived in one piece. It cost me quite a bit of money to get this made. But thankfully working here pays well. And I hope Asuko enjoys this gift as much as I enjoyed making it. Can't wait to see her reaction to this when I go back for Thanksgiving. I can't wait to surprise my mom with the news as well. I don't really write my feelings down like this. But I'm just so excited I can't share this with anyone else because I want this to be a surprise. Any clue as to what the item might be? Flipping through the journal. Nope, it seems this is more about his work than his personal life. Passes the journal to 6485. Maybe you'd know. No, not a clue. Is there anything else? Miss Upson looks back into the box. No, I don't think so. Most of the items here look like stuff from when he was working here, so I don't think I am well versed enough to touch them. I'll probably ask Miss Dr. Jones for a little more context if I see him again. Alright, how was it looking through Charlie's old stuff? Oh, it was quite nice. I mean, I managed to find things that I thought were long gone. And it kind of helped me revisit the memories associated with some of the belongings here. I also learned more about Charlie when he was working here, and I'm happy he hasn't changed from his usual happy self. That's really great to hear. The next 35 minutes of conversation have been declared irrelevant. To see extended transcript, submit a request to Site Director Light. I'll probably get to the rest of the other boxes at a later date. I don't know if it's good to go through all of it at once today. Alright, don't hesitate to tell me so we can do it together. Miss Upson nods as she begins packing away the items. She just places the journal into the box. 6485 stops her. What's that? Huh? SCP-6485 points to a small red box at the bottom of the box of belongings. Miss Upson picks it up and opens it to reveal a ring. She gets and starts crying as she drops the ring box, causing 6485 to jump and catch it. 6485 opens the ring box and takes the ring out as Miss Upson continues crying with a smile on her face. End log. Audio log 6485.2. Forward, the following audio log was recorded a day before Miss Upson's release from Site 85. First 15 minutes of conversation have been declared irrelevant. See extended transcript. Submit a request to Site Director Light. Begin log. Dr. Jonas.
Before we release you tomorrow, we need to give some important reminders. Firstly, I must instruct you to keep your expenses here over the last 2 months a secret. Our organization is doing its best to maintain its veil of secrecy from the general public. So I can't stress enough how important it is that you not share these encounters with them.
I understand.
This also goes for the teddy bear. I must ask you to hide it away from the public and inform us if you are taking it outside. If anybody sees it moving, appearing, or disappearing, inform us immediately.
Miss Upson nods.
Secondly, you want to submit weekly reports of the teddy bear to me. Just me if there have been any behavioral changes you observed, as well as a summary of what you two did together, like places you visited, what activities you did together, etc. Do you understand?
Yes, how long do I have to do this for?
Actually, you have to do this for 3 months so you can see how it goes.
Okay.
Thirdly, several members of our organization will also be moving into the neighborhood around a month from now, and will be watching over you in case anything goes wrong. If you have any questions or anything else to report that I didn't mention, you can also contact one of them after you've discharged.
Alright, last 10 minutes of conversation have been declared irrelevant. Seek send transcript, submit request to Site Director Light. End log. Following this discharge of Site 85, Ms. Upston has been tasked with sending weekly reports of the SCP-6485's behavior to Dr. Jonas.
Oh my gosh, there's even
more. Alright. Oh, it doesn't look like there's much, because the bar doesn't go very far up.
Okay.
Right. To Senior Researcher Nicholas Jonas. From Miss Lily Upson. Subject, Weekly Report, January 22nd, 2021. Good afternoon, Mr. Jonas. When we got home, I realized that the teddy bear had stopped teleporting to my immediate location when I leave it on its own. I did a little test of my own when I placed the bear inside my bedroom of the house, and it didn't follow me. Like what you emphasized about keeping everything I experienced a secret, I bought some curtains immediately after so it wouldn't be caught moving around. Seems that while it does still help out with the chores and continues to try to help me, its help is slowly decreasing as I slowly get back to my own 2 feet. It still provides me company when I'm eating and when I'm sleeping now. However, something major also happened this morning. When I went to the supermarket to buy some food for myself, I just started to cry. I'm not sure whether it is me realizing I'd never be able to cook for him anymore, or what. When I did so, the teddy bear immediately appeared in front of me and began to comfort me. I'm sure there were a few witnesses following its appearance, so I rushed home as quick as I could to send this to you. Sorry in advance for any inconvenience caused. Sincerely, Lily Upston. Notes, all secondhand witnesses have been traced down and treated as per the procedures specified in special containment procedures above. To Senior Researcher Nicholas Jonas. From Miss Lily Upston. Subject Weekly Reports, January 31st, 2021. Good evening, Mr. Jonas. I recently met up with his girlfriend and his best friend following some advice from the teddy bear. We talked about Charlie and what he meant to us, and I gave the ring Charlie got to his girlfriend. That was also when I learned they had a similar teddy bears. We had informed them about, and are also helping them cope with his death. There aren't any major changes in his behavior since my last report. It still provides company and is constantly checking up on me. It also comforted me after I cried again following my visits to his girlfriends and best friends. Sincerely, Billy Upston. Notes, following this weekly report, the further information provided by Miss Upston tracker chips and instructions have been mailed out to them. To Senior Researcher Nicholas Jonas from Miss Lily Upston. Subject Weekly Report, June 2nd, 2021. Good evening, Mr. Jonas. I finally decided to go through some of the other boxes of Charlie's stuff with the teddy bear. There were a lot of his personal belongings in them, just his clothes and books he brought for his stay at your site. One of the boxes also contained a few more work journals, which were filled with notes on his clients, which I looked through for some light reading. Wow, I can't really say I understand much of what is in it. I could see that he was really dedicated to his research and detail-oriented to help out his clients. I also read some letters left for him by his colleagues. It was quite bittersweet seeing how much he's affected them and how he could have done more. It has also been doing its hardest to help me fall back to my regular routine after my discharge. And what's safer for me to do this quickly. I've been trying my best to follow its advice and slowly readjust my life. There aren't any major changes in behavior that I've observed since my last report. Sincerely, Lily Upston. To Senior Researcher Nicholas Jonas from Lily Upston. Subject Weekly Report, November 14th, 2021. No, not November 14th. February 14th, 2021. Oh wait, then that means the previous date was not June. It was February 7th. Sorry. Alright. Good evening, Mr. Jonas. I finally visited Charlie's grave today. It was fairly quiet cemetery, with only the teddy bear accompanying me. It was nice to see his grave covered in flowers and cards. That gives me some assurance that he had met a lot of wonderful people when he was still alive. The hole in my heart left by Charlie is still there, and while it can heal over time, it will never go back to how it was originally. The innocence will still be there. I really miss him. There's nothing about the teddy bear's behavior that's changed since last week, but I realize we have grown a lot closer following my release. I've also decided to name the teddy bear after him. Sincerely, Lily Upston. And that's it.
That is a bittersweet SCP. It helps people, but those people are basically very depressed people.
Yeah. Alright. Are you ready for the thumbnail, Jerry?
I'm kind of concerned. It was such a wonderful SCP.
Oh, god damn
I
it.
just have this. What?
I saw the thumbnail when I put it on stream.
I have such a bad feeling that they're just going to fuck everything up. Oh, yeah,
You remember that
I'm
character?
sorry, nobody has, like, a special memento stuffed toy looking like that.
Yeah, do you remember that character, Jerry? It's when we did that Roblox map.
I know. It's not a childhood toy.
Yeah, and it was
That's
also
a
a dangerous
horror
entity, too.
Yeah.
So yeah, Thor. Let's see.
I hope that my instincts are wrong and they will be respectful of an SCP that concerns mourning and death and loss.
They're probably going to see Keter and think, deadly. And they did keep the license. So you ready?
Yeah.
Alright. Make sure the volume is good. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
The prognosis was poor. The child had been in and out of the hospital for months now. The disease had ravished her immune system. The doctors were at a loss. They checked over the files and the monitoring equipment. Her heart rate was slowing down. He turned to the child's mother.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Lawson, but there isn't anything else we can do for your daughter, except to make her comfortable.
No, please, doctor. Surely there's something else. A new treatment, an experimental procedure.
I'll leave you two alone.
He left the room. The little girl gave a weak smile, her favorite Rainbow Friends plushie in her arms.
Hug him tight. He's gonna keep you company until you're all better.
The little girl nodded her head.
Mommy's going to be right here the whole time. I'm never going to leave your side. So you just close your eyes and dream. When you wake up, everything will be a little brighter and better.
The girl smiled and fell asleep.
Oh my
watching her
god.
favorite Roblox streamer. The woman awoke to see the doctor pulling the sheets over her daughter.
What are you doing?
I'm very sorry, Mrs. Lawson. She passed away during the night. If it's any comfort, she didn't feel any pain.
What? It can't be. I just spoke to her.
I'll give you a moment. A nurse will be in shortly to talk to you. Once again, my condolences.
She walked over to the bed, her hands trembling, and sat down by her daughter's side. How could this have happened? How could life be so cruel and unfair? She looked at the toy by her daughter's side. And you? What good were you in the end? What comfort did you provide? She grabbed the toy and ripped its head off
What the
before
fuck?
throwing it in the garbage.
Uh,
She drove back
That's
home, her
unrealistic
mind
and tone
flooded
deaf.
with
What was that?
That's unrealistic and tone deaf.
Yeah.
what ifs, and had she done everything possible for her daughter? She still couldn't believe she was gone. Just a few months ago, she'd have
Oh
been
my
sitting
God.
in the back seat happily singing or playing with her toys. The car swerved. She pulled to the side of the road and looked into the back seat, but there was nothing there. Was her mind playing tricks on her?
Oh my
She could have
god.
sworn she saw that blasted toy in the back seat. She calmed herself down and continued the drive home. What a terrible day it had been. The worst of her life. She walked through the hallway, dropping her keys in the basket. She caught a glimpse of something in the mirror. No, it couldn't be. She quickly looked back, but there was nothing in the reflection. It's just a stress, she told herself. She sat the boxes down in the kitchen and lit the fireplace. She couldn't even think about food right now. She just wanted to curl up under the covers and cry herself to sleep. She made herself a cup of tea and hid it to bed.
Unrealistic.
At least the warm tea was somewhat soothing. She felt sleep coming over her. She had hardly slept the night before and was burnt out from the events and stress of the past months. She hoped she would be able to escape her sadness for at least a few hours in her dreams. She turned off the light and tried to sleep. She looked at the bedside clock. 3 a.m. She had an odd feeling, like something was watching her. The room felt cold. She didn't feel like
What?
she was alone. She slowly looked up at the foot of the bed. A shadow was watching her.
Who is that? Who are you?
It stepped forward into the light. That cursed rainbow friend. It was back.
Get out!
She yelled as she grabbed it and ran down the stairs into the living room. She tossed it into the fire.
And stay dead, whatever you are.
As it burnt, she paused for a moment to catch her breath. Had she not thrown it away at the hospital? Did her daughter have more than one? No. She was sure of it. She took a deep breath and headed back up to her bedroom. She pushed the door open. Her breath caught in her throat. Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas, one and all! What better way to spend Christmas than finding a killer? Hunt a Killer's Christmas promotion is now on. Imagine Christmas Eve, the whole family gathered around.
You sure you don't want to just hop in the van?
Nah, could use the fresh air.
Try not to lose that one.
I didn't lose anything. It was stolen.
Just try not to crash it, alright? Those things don't come cheap.
Yes, Dad.
Attaboy, sport. So you said it started appearing after your daughter passed?
Yes. First I thought I saw it in the backseat of the car.
Oh my
In the
god.
hallway. But I wasn't sure.
But later that night?
It was in the bedroom. I threw it in the fire. But when I came back to the bedroom, it was sitting in the bed.
And where is it now?
I stayed down here, so I guess it's still in the bedroom. I hear it knocking on the doors every so often.
Okay, we'll go have a look.
You ready?
For Chucky? Heck no. I've had enough cursed Annabelle experiences to know we should have a priest or something with us.
What the
Well,
fuck?
there isn't. It's just you and me. Now open the
I
door.
called it,
You
Jerry.
and me, eh? Hey, Chen,
I
you
hate
open
it,
the
thank
door. Sure don't sound like a you and me job.
Well, you just...
Okay. He slowly pushed the door open. Sitting on the bed was the toy.
Hi.
The doll waved back.
We're not here to hurt you. What are you?
It tilted its head to the side. Are you dangerous? The doll made a cross in front of it.
See? What I tell you? Harmless.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
Oh my
Oh
god.
God, what is it? Is it possessed?
We'll take it back for further investigation, but it doesn't appear to be hostile.
Then why is it tormenting me? Following me everywhere I go?
We'll try to find some answers, but for now, please try to get some rest. See you back at HQ.
Radio. Chen took off on his bike, the van following closely behind.
So, can you talk?
The doll looked at Klaus and vanished before his eyes.
What the?
The driver turned to look back as the cage fell from the table. The van swerved out of control, clipping Chen's bike and sending him sprawling to the ground.
Chen?
Okay,
What happened?
Bike accident.
Oh no. How bad is it?
There's a bit of swelling in the brain. so he's in an induced coma.
Why have you brought him to me?
I've heard anecdotal evidence that talking to a person in a coma can help bring them back. Who better to enter a person's mind but you?
Well, he is an oaf and a fool, but he's our oaf and fool. Let me see.
What the fuck?
The streets were dark and wet. Neon signs lit up above.
Oh
boy
my god.
Walked through the streets, seemingly without purpose. He bumped into a man, and within a second...
Huh?
I just want it paused in an area with a lot of things. I was going to use a translator app to see if they put real words or nonsense.
Ow. Right there?
Yep.
I think they're just using this anomaly to get backstory to the Chen.
It's nonsensical words. You see the word with that's in purple in the circle?
Yeah.
That's his cat. The word under it says, when the water is full, it overflows.
What?
The red one next to it says, wandering around the world. The one above that says, can't put it down. The two purple ones in the square says, drunk, got it. The red square one at the far right says, practice makes perfect.
Oh my god. Alright, we ready to continue?
And the tiny one in the red box says, tomorrow.
Oh. Ready to continue?
Yeah. Man, they're fucking racist. Also, it's all in Chinese at least.
Yeah.
Above. The boy walked through the streets, seemingly without purpose. He bumped into a man, and within a second he had a knife at the man's throat, his other hand open. The man gave him all his money before the boy let him go. He counted the money. It wasn't much, but it should be enough to satisfy the bosses. As he got older, he graduated from pickpocketing and petty theft to more serious crimes. To become a full-fledged member of the Triad, he'd have to take a life. They sat him down and tattooed the mark of the Triad onto his arm. All that was left now was to perform the kill. The man had taken a loan from the Triad, but hadn't been able to pay it back. They wanted to send a message that they were not a force to be trifled with. Chen held the gun in his hands, considering what had to be done. The men around him pointed at the man, urging him to make the kill. He looked nervously at the people in the room, and then to the gun in his hands. He slowly raised the pistol. A shot rang out, and the man lay dead at his feet.
Wow.
What is it? What did you see?
I'm not sure. Are you sure he was properly amnesticized?
Of course, I did it myself.
He has his memories, all the way back to his childhood in Hong Kong.
That's not possible.
I'm just telling you what I saw.
Maybe they're subconscious, like echoes of a memory.
Perhaps, but enough of this. I think he's starting to come to.
I'll get him to rehab. Thanks, Pythia. Thank you for joining me, Mrs. Lawson. Has the doll been visiting you?
All the time, from the moment you left.
And has it been hostile or shown any signs of violence?
Oh, no. We had it all wrong from the start. It doesn't want to hurt anybody. It wants to heal.
The toy suddenly jumped up onto the table.
No!
It can do that, just appear and disappear at will. It took the shape of her favorite toy, I guess, to appeal to me. It's been cleaning up the house, cooking me food, and helping me understand my feelings. Almost like a therapist, you could say.
it speaks?
Well, no, but it can draw and spell just fine. Also made me these pictures. I haven't seen them in years, in fact. I know some of them were lost years ago.
And are you feeling better?
Slowly, yes. It's been helping me slowly heal. It's a blessing.
Well, then that's about it, really. Please try to keep it away from the public and report any events or problems to us immediately. We'll be monitoring you and checking in to make sure that everything is okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Oh my god.
Hey, Doc.
You should be in bed resting.
I'm fine. Just a little knock to the noggin.
And your vision? Can you see clearly?
Yeah, just a splitting headache.
Did you have any dreams while you were in a coma?
Dreams? Like what?
Oh, I don't know. Anything at all? Childhood? Lost memories?
Nah. Still can't really remember anything from my past.
All right. Well, glad to see you're up and about. I've got a couple things I need to attend to. See you for a coffee later?
You bet.
Jen! Hey, Jen!
What do you want?
Is that any way to talk to an old friend?
You were never a friend.
Fine, fine. But don't forget you owe me a favor, eh? I covered up that tattoo of yours real good, didn't I?
Don't worry. Chen always repays his debts.
I'll keep you to that.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
SCP-6485. Object
Yeah.
class, Keter. 6485 is a toy that manifests approximately an hour after one's expiration, often to the deceased's closest family members and friends. It has no fixed appearance, but generally appears as a stuffed animal or doll, typically taking the form of the deceased's favorite toy from their adolescence. 6485 exhibits signs of sapience, is able to move on its own accord, and communicate via a range of gestures or writing.
Oh my god.
6485 is also capable of demanifesting and remanifesting itself, which only stops when it deems a subject to have gained closure over the loved one's death. It also does so when a subject actively attempts to harm themselves or experience significant emotional distress. Upon manifestation, 6485 has been observed in its behavior to express affection by bringing items, cooking simple dishes of the subject's preference, as well as forms of hugs and pats. It is also able to produce physical childhood pictures of the deceased's past, even when they were previously destroyed. Prolonged exposure to 6485 will cause the subject's mental state and morale to improve greatly, and gain closure faster than people who are not exposed to 6485. 6485 has been deemed safe to remain self-containing, as it possesses no threat and greatly improves the mental state and morale of any subject who it interacts with.
What?
The loss of a loved one is a life-changing event. All of us experience this pain differently and heal in our own unique ways. Never be afraid to seek help if it becomes overwhelming. Sometimes, even the simplest hug or shoulder to cry on can make all the difference.
As always, have a
I'm gonna do this.
That's valid.
No characters were ever put in the video.
That's right. That's technically right, yeah. They removed literally every character.
Sorry, got rid of the video. Added gore or violence.
I feel like that should at least be a 1 with how they use
Yeah.
the SCP. Actually, isn't it a 2 or 3 with what happened with Chen? It's a 3.
Yeah. Let's go with 3. Yeah, 'cause that was...
It went
the
from
fuck?
0 to literally Chen was in the triad.
Yeah. Is that like a dangerous gang or something, like a mafia or something?
You don't know what the triad is?
No. I was never taught it.
Okay, let me just...
Is it a real life thing or an SCP thing?
It's a real thing.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because, like, the
I'm
triad symbol looks similar to some of the other symbols of the group of interest and everything, so I wasn't sure. That's why I asked.
It's a very dangerous, organized crime syndicate in China. I'm trying to find a simple way to describe it. I tried using Google to help me, it did not help. So let's just say it's literally like randomly saying Chen is in the Chinese mafia. It's kind of like that.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
yeah, it's definitely a large escalation.
Alright.
Also, I feel like it's very invasive to invade his brain while he's in a coma. Actually, let's just mark that to a 4 for aggression.
Alright. I did deviate 4 because what the fuck?
Yeah, they literally didn't use any of the original story.
Yeah, and they
They
literally
used
got.
every single female character, so 4.
Yeah, also. They have an entire story right here that they could have gone with.
Also, I feel like 4 because there's the added offensiveness with how tone deaf it was. Because I'm sorry, it's literally an SCP about mourning and loss, and they show multiple times that they don't understand how mourning and loss works in people.
Also, for the fact they showed the one about to stab her throat. I'm not sure if you paid attention to that part.
Oh, I did.
Alright, you're.
Also, I want to say there was also added offensiveness with the Chinese signs.
Yeah.
Just random fucking words.